Tell White House medical experts to stop excusing Trump's dangerous advice. He's getting away with murder. I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute. 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that, by injection inside or almost a cleaning? So it'd be interesting to check that. Those are the actual words of the President of the United States, speaking live to millions of frightened Americans, many of whom tragically still place value on the audible thoughts of Donald Trump. How do we know people took Trump's suggestion to literally poison themselves seriously? Multiple states reported massive spikes in calls to poison control in just a few hours after the president made his deadly suggestion. The blow back was so humiliating for the president, because humiliation, not mass death, is what he responds to, that he had to walk it back the next day, suggesting falsely that his comments were sarcasm, and ultimately pausing his daily briefings to avoid future missteps. Unfortunately, we've come to expect this nonsense from Trump. But from the medical professionals advising him, we expect more. While Dr. Anthony Fauci has refused to excuse Trump's quackery, Dr. Deborah Birx, a brilliant physician in her own right, is placating the president's worst impulses and endangering Americans as a result. Birx excused Trump's suggestion that Americans should ingest disinfectants as musings. Perhaps she was right, but they're the kinds of musings that can kill people, and if the president refuses to take responsibility, then she simply must. Lives depend on it. A top White House advisor starkly warned Trump administration officials in late January that the coronavirus crisis could cost the United States trillions of dollars and put millions of Americans at risk of illness or death. The warning, written in a memo by Peter Navarro, President Trump's trade advisor, is the highest-level alert known to have circulated inside the West Wing as the administration was taking its first substantive steps to confront a crisis that had already consumed China's leaders and would go on to upend life in Europe and the United States. The lack of immune protection or an existing cure or vaccine would leave Americans defenseless in the case of a full-blown coronavirus outbreak on U.S. soil, Mr. Navarro's memo said. This lack of protection elevates the risk of the coronavirus evolving into a full-blown pandemic, imperiling the lives of millions of Americans. Dated January 29, it came during a period when Mr. Trump was playing down the risks to the United States, and he would later go on to say that no one could have predicted such a devastating outcome. Mr. Navarro said in the memo that the administration faced a choice about how aggressive to be in containing an outbreak, saying the human and economic costs would be relatively low if it turned out to be a problem along the lines of a seasonal flu. But he went on to emphasize that the risk of a worst-case pandemic scenario should not be overlooked given the information coming from China.